Let's get canonical with SEO Uncensored. My fellow SEOs, welcome to another edition of SEO Uncensored. My name is Dejan Mladenovski, that is Dejan Mladenovski, and I am the host of SEO Uncensored. Grab your hit of link juice. We're in for a jam-stacked show today. We are going to be discussing a little known article that's just popped up, talking about whether Google thinks links are not that big of a factor. We're going to be going through that article and we're going to be discussing it. Here we've got an article from the Search Engine Journal, written by the good old Roger Monti. And it says, Google confirms links are not that important. Let's take a deeper look at if this is nonsense or if this is the real deal. So, Google's Gary Isles, for anybody that doesn't know, Methodi is his handle on Twitter, says that Google needs very few links. More evidence that links matter less than at any other time in SEO history. Right? So, Google's Gary Ilsh confirmed at a recent search marketing conference that Google needs very few links, adding that the growing body of evidence that publishers need to focus on other factors. Gary tweeted confirmation that he indeed say those words. So, I mean, I'm not sold. I mean, we know how big parasite SEO is, and we know for anything competitive, you do need a high domain rank. We can go through that, and we can look at a few competitive terms in future videos where we can definitely illustrate very, very quickly that you do need decent DR to rank for anything half competitive, at least in the US, Canada, UK, Australian markets. So background of links for ranking. So links were discovered in the late 1990s, and they were a good signal for search engines to use for validating how authoritative a website is. And then Google discovered soon after that the anchor text that could be used to provide some semantic signals on what the web page was about. And Google has a lot of patents about this, the reasonable surfer model, etc. One of the most important research papers was Authoritative Sources in a Hyperlinked Environment by John Kleinberg, published in around 1988. Linked to the research paper at the end of the article. The main discovery of this research paper is that there is too many web pages and there is no objective way to filter the search results for quality in order to rank the web page with subjective data. The author of the research paper discovered that links could be used as an objective filter for authoritativeness. Kleinberg wrote, to provide effective search methods under these conditions, one needs a way to filter from among a huge collection of relevant pages a small set of the most authoritative and defined ones, or definitive ones. This is the most influential research paper on links because it kickstarted more research on ways to use links beyond an authoritative or an authority metric, but as a subjective metric for relevance. Objective is something that is factual, subjective is something that is closer to an opinion. The founders of Google discovered how to use the subjective opinions of the internet as a relevance metric for what to rank in the search results. What Larry Page and Sergey Brin, co-founders of Google, discovered and shared in their research paper, The Anatomy of a Large-Scale Hypertextual Web Search Engine, link at the end of the article, was that it was possible to harness the power of anchor text to determine the subjective opinion of relevance from the actual humans. It was essentially crowdsourcing the opinions of millions of websites expressed through the link structure between each page. So think about it like this. Let's have a quick discussion of this. But first, hit of link juice. Oh. What we're talking about here is basically Google taking the offline world and putting it online, right? It's effectively taking word of mouth recommendations from other websites and using that to actively rank sites. The way you can look at it is the more links a website has, the better it'll rank. Just like in the real world, the more recommendations and word of mouth a business has, the higher and more likely it is to have like flow-on effects of more customers, more pass-through traffic, more leads. No different to Google. The more businesses that mentioned a certain type of business, the better it would rank. And quite frankly, method was ingenious, right? If a business is getting talked about quite frequently, chances are it's going to be pretty decent for what the user's looking for. Let's continue. What did Gary Iles say about links in 2024? At a recent search conference in Bulgaria, Google's Gary Iles made a comment about how Google doesn't really need that many links and how Google has made links less important. Patrick Stocks, I believe he's head guy at Ahrefs, tweeted about what he heard at the search conference. We need very few links to rank pages. Over the years, we've made links less important at Method, which is at Gary Iles, SERP Conference 2024. Gary Iles tweeted a confirmation of that statement. I shouldn't have said that. I definitely shouldn't have said that. So it's interesting. I mean, like, Ahrefs, again, it's one of the most authoritative sites on the internet. It's probably in the top couple of thousand at least. Of course, when, you're creating content for a site like that, you're going to need less and less links because it's using the overall domain authority. For a very brand new site, obviously the rules are different. Why links matter less and less. The initial state of anchor text when Google first used links for ranking purposes was absolutely non-spammy, which is why it was so useful. Hyperlinks were primarily used to send traffic from one website to another. So, anchor texts weren't necessarily there to manipulate the rankings. I would just use there as a guide. Hey, this link is about X, and it's just notifying the user exactly what that would be. But by 2004 and 2005, Google was starting to use statistical analysis to detect manipulated links. By then, around 2004, powered by links in website footers stopped past the anchor text value. And by 2006, links close to the words advertising stopped passing link value. Links from directories stopped passing value. And by 2012, Google deployed a massive link algorithm called the Penguin. Anybody that knows, April 24th, 2012 was a maybe the biggest day in SEO in the history of the industry. And that destroyed the rankings of likely millions of websites, many of which were using guest posting. So one thing as well that wasn't put here was in 2005, Google launched the nofollow tag. It closely followed again by the, penalizing keywords that were around the word advertising, or at least devaluing them. It really started cracking down on it. The link signal eventually became so bad that Google decided in 2019 to selectively use nofollow links for ranking purposes. Google's Gary Iles confirmed that changes to nofollow was made because of the link signal. So basically, high quality nofollow tags eventually had actually some usage, and you can see that. I mean, if a site has a very low amount of outbound links and none of them do follow, the no follows are going to add weight. Think of Wikipedia or think of some very, very high DR90 plus sites. Google explicitly confirms that links matter less. So in 2023, Google's Gary Iles shared at PubCon Austin that the links were no longer even in the top 3 ranking factors. Then in March 2024, coinciding with the 2024 core algorithmic update, Google then updated their spam policies and the documentation to downplay the importance of links for ranking purposes. The documentation previously said Google uses links as an important factor in determining the relevancy of web pages, and the update now says Google uses links as a factor in determining the relevancy of pages. So now it's just listed as another factor rather than as an important factor. But I think my personal opinion is anybody in SEO knows that, if you want to rank for something quite decent, yes, I mean, you could go to the end of the moon to build a topical authority, content clusters, and, maybe make an inroad with content. But the chances are, if your competitors have links, you're not going to show up unless you have an equal link profile, at least for the high quality links that they have. At the beginning of April, Google's John Mueller advised that there are more useful SEO activities to engage on than links. He said the more important things for websites nowadays over focusing on links will often result you in wasting your time on doing things that don't make your website better overall. So again, going back to the helpful content, he believes, if you're just focusing on links, your site's not going to be helpful. Reality is, it takes a lot of effort to get that link, and people are becoming less and less, obliged to link to sites, and I think everybody's starting to know the value of the sites as well, at least the value of the links. So I think times are of change. Gary also explicitly said that Google needs very few links to rank web pages and confirmed it. Here we go. There's the Patrick Stocks and Gary Oll's little thread that we just discussed earlier. And then why Google doesn't need links. The reason Google doesn't need many links is likely because of the extent of AI, natural language processing, NLP, rank brain, the MUM algorithm. I mean, the Google's SGE that's coming out, their large language model, Gemini. There's a lot of algorithms that they can tap into. But having said that, though, even if, you weren't looking at links per se and you started maybe looking at brand and mentions, if that became the new factor, everybody'd start doing that. So it is quite difficult. It's a catch-22 situation, no matter which method that they pivot to. Likely, I mean, you can make inroads to sort of, I guess, manipulate is probably not the right word, but maybe assist the algorithm in helping you be seen a little better. So Google must be highly confident that its algorithm is able to explicitly say that they don't need it. Way back when Google implemented the nofollow into the algorithm, there were many link builders who sold comment spam links who continued to lie that comment spam still worked. It's the old scrapebox, WordPress blasts, the website link and smashing out all guestbook links and things like that. As someone who started link building at the very beginning of modern SEO, so this is just talking about the author, he can say with confidence that links have stopped playing a major role since the beginning of years ago, and why he stopped link building. I mean, again, if you're working on a site, for example, like the Search Engine Journal, it's a very, very high domain rank site, sure. If you have a large following that people are going to read and link to you, sure. But if you're a no-name mom and pop store around the corner, or you're starting an e-commerce business online and you want to sell nationally, I mean, you're going to need to do something. So, it's all good and well, if you have a lot of experience, but the average business starting out, Google's not going to know about them, see them, and rank them accordingly. So, yeah, I mean, keep this in mind. So what can we conclude here? Well, we know that links are definitely a factor. Go and look at any of the top keywords, for a competitive term. I mean, rather than, talk about it, why don't I quickly show you? Why don't we take, a random term? Why don't we take something like, I don't know, something half decently competitive? Let's take something in finance, and let's take something, maybe like credit cards. Let's see what, the search engines say. All right, so we've got credit cards here. We've just plugged it into Ahrefs. And if we scroll down the bottom here, we can see the domain rank that's required. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, domain rank works on a logarithmic scale. So every 10 sort of points higher, so 0 to 10 is one metric, and then 10 to 20 becomes exponentially harder. There's, half the amount of sites. And then, it keeps going up from there. 30's, twice as hard as 20. 40's twice as hard as 30, etc. Until we get to 90, where literally there's only 1,000 odd websites in the world that are above a DR90. So, in a bit of DR80, there's less than 10,000 sites. So, what we're looking at is we're looking at the term, and let's have a look and see, what type of websites are ranking. And this is Australia. This isn't the US, this isn't the UK, this is Australia. And we can see that for number 1 spot, DR81, right? For number 2 spot, DR81. Number 3, 76. Number 4, 84. Number 5, 71. Number 6, anomaly, a bit lower, 50. But what do we see? Exact match. So creditcard.com.au. What this also means is that all the backlinks that they get, it's natural for them to have credit card or credit cards in the anchor text, or a variation of that, creditcard.com.au. It's their branded anchor, so they can actually have more referring domains with the exact match anchor to be there. And Google's also started favoring EMDs. They did sort of crack down on it at one point, especially for all those made for AdSense websites where people would just register exact matches, register 1,000 of them, get them getting 10 to 15 visitors a month, but having thousands of them that, obviously make quite a bit of bank. But the strategy has come back. And we continue down. ING, 70. Latitude Finance, 70. Citibank 66, ANZ 78, and these all have hundreds, if not thousands, of domains that link back to it. So, I mean, like, the reality is, if you're targeting a competitive keyword, I don't see how you could rank in this without very, very, very substantial link profile. Not just a link profile, a relevant link profile from geographically relevant sources if you're ranking in Australia, potentially with a geographic top-level domain, but you're not getting in this if you don't have links. I would love to see the argument where, you can, rank with this without, a substantial link profile. I'm happy, drop a comment if you disagree, with me, if you have any comments or thoughts on it. I would personally love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you'd say. And that's our SEO take. My name is Dejan Mladenovski. Thanks for listening to another episode of SEO Uncensored. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time for more SEO goodies. And remember to climb the ranks. Thanks.